Now to Iran and its clear message to the United States on the future of the Iran nuclear deal. It wants the U.S. to lift economic sanctions before any negotiations for a nuclear arms deal. President Trump, of course, pulled the U.S. from the nuclear deal. It was one of the most influential feats of the Obama era. Joining us today from London with more on this is Bloomberg opinion columnist Bobby Ghosh. Hey, Bobby, great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. How big of a setback is this for the Biden administration?
Well, I'm not sure it's a very big step back. I think we are very much in the smoke and mirrors part of the diplomacy around Iran's nuclear program. Each side is trying to basically get the other to make concessions first, and that requires a certain amount of bluff. Each side is playing diplomatic poker, if you like. This is Iran raising the stakes by saying, we're not going to come to any meetings with the United States. We're not going to even discuss having discussions before the United States makes some concessions, which in this case means lifts sanctions on Iran and the Iranian economy. It's a maximalist position, but it's a position designed for negotiations. From here, the Iranians, I suspect, will say, okay, maybe one or two sanctions, and we can come to the table and then discuss even more.
Hey, Bobby, I want to switch gears and talk about your most recent column, which was about Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and of course the report that came out on Friday afternoon. You argue that President Biden has failed to make Saudi Prince MBS a pariah in this report that details the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. How did Biden fail?
Well, I think Biden failed by setting the expectations too high. When he was a candidate for the presidency, he said he wanted to make the Saudis, and in this case, particularly Prince Mohammed, a pariah. Now, that's a very high bar, and he has spectacularly failed in that. He has named and shamed the Crown Prince in this report, but when it comes to actual actions, there are sanctions on 76 different Saudis. He's not among them. There is no actual sanctions against the Crown Prince. There's no travel ban, nothing, just a public naming and shaming. And frankly, even that is somewhat questionable because the report, in the fashion that it has been released, does not really move the story forward from what we had heard 2 years ago from the Turkish authorities when they first began to release information about the Khashoggi killing. So he has named MBS, the prince, and that's not nothing. That is significant, but it's quite short of saying we're going to make this guy a pariah.
So why, in your opinion, did Biden fall short of this?
I think he probably now, in retrospect, should not have used the P word, should not have said that he was going to make this guy a pariah, because that's putting the expectations too high. There's no way the President of the United States is going to be able to do that. The Crown Prince is already the de facto ruler of his country. You'll notice in the last 24 hours, the leaders of all the other GCC, the Gulf Cooperation Council states, have come out with statements backing him, and his people are not pulling away from him. His father, the king, who's old and infirm, is showing no signs of cutting him down to size. So there's no way Biden could have made him a pariah. And therefore, to have used that word, to have used that language, in retrospect, I think was a mistake.
So for people who don't follow this as closely as you do, why is the United States relationship with Saudi Arabia so important?
Well, it's important for a whole bunch of reasons. So for the United States, Saudi Arabia, being the biggest producer of hydrocarbons in the world, is very important because the oil markets, the stability of the oil markets, the reliability of the oil markets depends substantially on Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is also a big factor in Gulf affairs, and America's interest in the Middle East is anchored with Saudi politics, and so stability there is important. The United States also wants and needs Saudi Arabia in the confrontation against Iran. We have American boots on the ground in that region, in and around Saudi Arabia, and making sure that they are safe is important for U.S. foreign policy. So, from the Saudi point of view, obviously the United States provides a security umbrella for Saudi, and now that the Crown Prince is very interested in in modernizing his country's economy, diversifying his economy from its dependence on petroleum products. He's going to need American investment, American know-how. So it's a two-way trade. It's a very important relationship for both countries.
Bloomberg Opinions, Bobby Ghosh. Hey, Bobby, thanks as always for your time. Great to have you on the show.